Okay, welcome back to another video. In this one, I wanted to talk about some things that have been requested to be added to Minecraft, but haven't, and basically discuss whether or not I think they're good ideas, or, well, bad ideas, and why I don't think they'll be added, or why I think they might be added. So the reason I bring this up is because of the addition of the new tiered weapon to the game, that being the spear. And so yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing that, I'll get onto is one that's always, I don't know, I feel like requested by people who don't really play Minecraft, but it is always kind of just something that people bring up, whether it's a joke or it's not a joke, and that is guns. You probably weren't expecting that. Basically, the reason why I think guns are so highly requested is because they are in pretty much every video game ever. And a lot of people like games with guns in them, right? Like, it can be fun to just mow down a bunch of zombies in a game with like some machine gun or anything like that. But here's the thing, that just doesn't really exist within the context of Minecraft. And the reason for that, I feel, is just it doesn't need to, really. Like, and I think that's really just the simplest way of explaining things, is that I think the reason that Minecraft doesn't include guns is that it doesn't need guns. Because really, what would the use of them be for? Like, a lot of the updates for Minecraft are for single-player elements of the game, right? They're not made for multiplayer. A lot of them have uses in multiplayer that can be a lot of fun, but, you know, they're not made specifically with multiplayer in mind. The whole point of the game is to have uses for... I'm sorry, I was just focusing on parkour there. And I still failed. The whole reason is that everything has a use within the context of, like, single player. And why would a gun ever have, like, a use in single player? I just don't think it would. Okay, it could be somewhat fun, but again, it's like, I ultimately don't think it would be that good or really necessary, really. And that's basically the reason why I don't think they add it, is that I think Minecraft could really add anything they wanted to the game, but a lot of it just wouldn't really be necessary as such, I guess. Like, there's certain things that would be added that I just think would mean the game is no longer Minecraft, and I think guns are one of them, and that is why I personally am not a fan of this. But again, it's a highly requested feature, so maybe you would want it. Let me know in the comments. Ultimately, again, before I get onto my second one, I might do another video on this based on things that you would like to see added and give my thoughts on them or anything like that. So let me know in the comments what you would like to see and your thoughts on the 5 that I'm going to be listing in here. Anyway, the next one that I have seen requested to be added before is the slingshot. And this is one which I think is something which I will, out the gate, say that of all the features that I am going to be listing in this video, this is the one that I feel is the most likely to be added and the one that I would actually most want to see added, personally. And I will explain why. So, basically, the slingshot, I think, could be a good addition for 2 simple reasons. For one, it is an extra ranged item, which I think is always a good thing, because while I think the bow and the crossbow are good ranged items, I think that's one reason why people want guns in the game, right? Is that there is not enough ranged items, in some people's opinions. I think the trident is also, like, an option, and basically, there's a few options, really, but there could be more, right? And, in my opinion, the reason why the slingshot could be so good as an addition is because it wouldn't just be another ranged thing, right? So the way that it could work is that you could craft it using, well, I don't know exactly how you would craft the slingshot itself, but you would be, I blew that so bad. You would be able to craft the pellets for the slingshot using, I would think, either stone or, and this is the one where I think it could be really good, gravel, right? You could use gravel, and then one piece of gravel will make pebbles or something, right? And then you can use the pebbles to make pellets, and basically you could then make gravel into something craftable as well. In that, right, you could use so many pebbles to craft gravel, and then you could also make gravel be linked to rock or stone or whatever you want to call it, because of the fact you could basically say if you mine a piece of stone, you could then break it down into pebbles and then use the pebbles to make gravel, right? Like, I don't know exactly how you would do that, but I think that's always an interesting one. Another thing that I think would be good about a slingshot is the ability to kind of have, I don't know, it be like a slightly faster version of a bow or a crossbow, right? Where it takes less time to charge, you could kind of rapid fire it somewhat, but it wouldn't do as much damage. And as well, it would also mean that you wouldn't have to, I'm doing really bad at this parkour, by the way, but it would mean you wouldn't have to spend as long, like, you know, trying to find items to craft an arrow or anything like that. Instead, you could simply just get a rock and fire it. But as well as that, I think there's a lot more uses for it. For example, you could use it to launch wind charges, for example. And that's to say, like, fire maybe multiple at once, or fire them rapidly. Because that's a new thing within the game, is wind charges, or not that new anymore, but certainly it was new at one point. And I do love that. But beyond that, you know, like, not just wind charges, you could use it for fire charges, you could use it for a whole range of things, including, I think another good thing, would be explosives, right? You could fire it as like a projectile explosive, and then using that, you could, you know, have actually like a TNT cannon kind of thing, except I don't think launching an entire TNT would be good, but just a smaller blast radius and something that could launch like that, I think could be a very good little addition to the game. Now, another thing that I would like to see added, or maybe not added, but another thing that I've seen wanted to be added, I'm sorry, my cat is harassing me. Another thing that I would like to see added to the game, but no, I keep saying I would like. I personally don't actually want to see this. I think it's something that, well, I don't know, I'm indifferent to. And that is furniture. Basically, as you know from playing Minecraft, you kind of have to be very creative with things, like, where you want to be more realistic, right? So, like, if you want to make a seat, or you want to make a chair is a seat. If you want to make a seat, or you want to make a table, or anything like that, you have to use your imagination a bit, because they're just not in the game. And basically, some people have, in the past, requested the idea of just having them in the game, right? So that you don't have to use your imagination in that, and you can just have a seat or a table, right? And in some ways, I think that is a good thing, and, you know, just having items that don't necessarily have, like, a big-ish function, which is to say that, like, all a table would really be for is decoration purposes, in the same way that, like, a chair would just be, like, something you could sit in, but really it would hold no actual purpose. I basically think that adding those things is, like, an okay enough idea, but not a strictly necessary one. And that's basically all I have to say on that, is that I just don't think it's that necessary. I'm going to restart, because I'm not going to get a good time there. But, yeah, I just don't think it's a necessary addition, and I don't think it's really needed, because I think the whole point of Minecraft is to kind of be creative, right? Like, you know, suspend your imagination a bit, and kind of come up with ideas rather than just having them there for you. And I think one of the really nice appeals of Minecraft is that you have to kind of come up with different solutions for chairs, different solutions for tables and all of this. And again, ultimately, would they serve much purpose? Probably not. So that's why I personally wouldn't want to see them. But at the same time, I think it would be a nice thing just for, of course, building and kind of having additional blocks to be able to be creative with, basically. The next thing, and the fourth thing that I have seen requested to be added, is a new dimension, which is the one which I'm going to spend the least time on, because I think it's quite simple, really. I don't think this is necessary at all. I think this is a thing where people want new things, and that is understandable, but a new dimension, I think, is just, it's simply not necessary, right? So at the moment, we obviously have the overworld, we have the nether, and we have the end. My thing is that each one of those is necessary for being able to go and, well, beat the game, or what most people consider beating the game, which is, of course, just defeating the Ender Dragon. You know, because you have to go to the nether to be able to get some things that are required to go to the end, and then once you're at the end, well, you're in the end, right? So, like, that's the thing, is that, you know, you need each dimension to be able to actually beat the game. Where would adding another different dimension into that really fit in? And you could make the point that, okay, it doesn't need to fit into that. It can be its own thing and all of that. And I hear that, and I think it's a fair point. I think it's something where, like, you know, adding more content is never really a bad thing, but I do also think there's a point to be made that, again, many people have played Minecraft, right? Like, it's not like one of these things where, like, you say that you don't add new things because it would confuse newer players, or even older players. Well, that's why I wouldn't add it, is because it would confuse older players, right? It would confuse people who haven't played the game in ages as to why it exists. And that's my simple reason why I just wouldn't add this. I think it's an addition that just isn't necessary, and we'll kind of leave it at that. The final thing, though, is something which I would actually be interested in seeing, and that is sort of a more RPG-like element to the game, which is to say that at the moment, villagers are just something you kind of trade with and you see every now and again, right, if you find a village. And I kind of enjoy making content with them because of the fact it's funny to me for some reason. But to a lot of people, I think all villagers really are just things to trade with, right? They don't have much purpose beyond just if they have good trades on offer. Why am I so bad, by the way? But, basically, what I was saying is that the idea of an RPG element is essentially, could it be that we could have it so that there are a few text-based options or anything like that, or just dialogues that you could have with villagers where you could complete certain tasks instead of just trading, right? Because with trading, it always seems a bit weird to me when you're kind of going to a random villager and they're like, I want 12 paper, in return you can have a goddamn emerald, right? Or when they're saying, if you give me an emerald, I'll give you like 8 pieces of bread. It never seems like a particularly fair trade, right? And where are they getting these things from, right? Like, how do they just have an abundance of emeralds to be able to give to you, right? So, basically, my thing is that the idea of an RPG element of it is just to say that rather than just having trades, you could have tasks, right? Like, that you could go and do, right? So, like, if it was like, go and find a trial chamber and do this, right? Rather than just simple trades. Basically, give me a reason to go and do stuff. Rather than just, I don't know why I'm doing that, but, give me a reason to do that rather than just, you can have an emerald, right? Make it so that there is, like, a ton of different things that you can get from quests, right? Like, do this and more villagers move in. Like, make it kind of Animal Crossing style, I guess, right? Where it's like, if you do this, maybe there's better offers on in, like, with various traders. Or, like, do this and the village expands, right? Like, all of that stuff, I think, could be very... Why am I so bad at the game? All of this, I think, could be, like, just good, fun little additions to the game that... How have I spent 5 minutes? I'm so bad. Okay, but, Wow, okay, I seriously just suck, don't I? But, basically, I think all of that is just fun, not too difficult additions to make to the game, which I think would kind of add to it, is an NPC-style thing. But yeah, that's kind of everything. I'm trying my best just to finish this parkour to give this, abysmal video an ending, because, oh my god, I suck at parkour, apparently, but, yeah, that's kind of everything. Like I say, let me know in the comments about what you personally would like to... Oh my god. What you personally would like to see added, your thoughts on the 5 things that I've said people would like to see added, because again, all of these that I've listed are things that I've seen at one point or another requested by people, and my basic thoughts, I seriously just... How on earth have I done so badly? But, okay, finally, right. My basic thoughts are, if you could, let me know in the comments all those things, basically. Yeah, I will basically make a video myself, again, ranking what you have said and what you would like to see. But yeah, my thoughts on each one there was that I would like to see the slingshot. Other than that, I think the others are okay, but I don't think they need adding. Anyway, bye.